Hold on to your seats, folks, because this shocking announcement from none other than Lynn Dunn may have just put an end to Caitlin Clark's incredible career. Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark, the face of women's college basketball and the phenomenon who has taken the globe by storm, may be facing her most difficult test yet. And it is not due to competitiveness on the court. Lynn Dunn's recent revelation has sent shockwaves through the sports world, and it has the potential to alter everything.
My coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously I mean that, and I thank you, and this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports.
First, who is Lynn Dunn and why is her voice so influential in the world of basketball? For those who don't know, Lynn Dunn is a legend in women's basketball. With almost 4 decades of expertise as a coach, mentor, and pioneer, she helped shape the game we know today. Dunn, a Hall of Famer, has coached outstanding players, leading teams to national titles and WNBA triumphs. So when she speaks, people listen.
When you see the fan engagement out there, just the first 2 rows filled, just everything out there,
it's amazing. It's amazing. I cannot believe that many people are here just for the draft party.
Now let us speak about Caitlin Clark. If you're a basketball lover, you've already heard her name. She's one of the NCAA's most exciting players, mesmerizing spectators with her ability to shoot from well beyond the arc and make highlight reel passes. Clark has been nothing short of brilliant at the University of Iowa, smashing records left and right and racking up numbers to match some of the finest to ever play. She's become a household celebrity, a potential WNBA star, and a role model for young athletes worldwide.
Here's Clark, nice find, Agumake push shot, banks in.
Caitlin Clark's rise from high school basketball wonder to NCAA standout is nothing short of remarkable. Fans, coaches, and players all admire her shooting range, playmaking abilities, and on-court leadership. In her first year at Iowa, she lit up the basketball world, scoring more than 26 points per game, and immediately established herself as one of college basketball's top prospects.
Mitchell spinning, finding Clark, 5 to shoot, Clark lays it in!
But it's not just her numbers that set her apart, it's the manner she plays. Clark exudes confidence and flair, which is unusual for someone her age. Whether it's hitting jumpers from the logo, threading the needle on a fast break, or demanding the ball in crunch time, she's shown her ability to handle the pressure of being the go-to player. While her skill speaks for itself, her off-court character has also contributed to her success. Clark is modest, hard-working, and committed to elevating not just her own game, but also the stature of women's basketball. In interviews, she has expressed appreciation for the opportunity she has had and her desire to advance the sport for future generations. Her mix of exceptional skill and down-to-earth demeanor has helped her become one of sport's most popular characters.
The final say. First lead for the Liberty that didn't last long, as Smith puts the Fever back on top. The Indiana Fever.
Lynn Dunn recently made a remark that left fans, players, and sports commentators in complete astonishment. It was the kind of news that might permanently alter the course of Caitlin Clark's career. Rumors had been circulating for weeks, but no one was ready for what was about to be revealed. Lynn Dunn stood calmly yet resolutely in front of the assembled reporters. She's used to making tough judgments. After all, she's a coach who's seen everything. Dunn has earned a reputation for being determined and focused on what is best for the game, from winning championships to navigating college sports politics.
First pick, Caitlin Clark.
Lynn, you've been able to think about this for weeks here.
Weeks and weeks and weeks.
What do you think about the impact she'll be able to have?
She's already...
The whole basketball world hung its breath. What exactly was Dunn alluding to? How would it affect Caitlin Clark, the brightest star in the NCAA galaxy? So what exactly did Lynn Dunn say to get everyone talking? To fully comprehend the significance of her comment, let us go further into the situation. Over the last several months, there has been increasing anxiety about the changing environment of women's basketball. With NIL, name, image, and likeness, partnerships becoming prevalent in college athletics. Elite performers like Caitlin Clark have more chances than ever before, but immense authority entails great responsibility and strain. The emergence of NIL agreements transformed college athletics. For years, collegiate athletes were barred from making money from their name, image, and likeness, despite generating millions of dollars for colleges and the NCAA. With NIL standards in place, athletes like Caitlin Clark may sign endorsement agreements agreements, appear in commercials, and build their personal brands without jeopardizing their college eligibility. This has created hitherto unprecedented opportunities for elite female athletes. Earning money while still in school is a game changer.
My parents are here tonight over here. My dad was actually my first ever AAU basketball coach, so this is kind of a full circle moment, and I grew up playing a lot of it.
However, this unexpected infusion of funds has created a new problem. Players must now balance the duties of being a full-time student athlete with the responsibilities of managing their brand and finances. The stakes have never been greater. Lynn Dunn's declaration might be linked to rising worries about how NIL agreements are altering the balance of power in collegiate athletics. The greater exposure and financial advantages are fantastic, but they come with more scrutiny, expectations, and possible diversions. Could the strain be getting to Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark is facing a pivotal time. She has already established herself as one of the top players in the nation, but what does her future hold? Could Lynn Dunn's startling revelation lead Clark to quit college early? Could it push her to join the WNBA or explore other opportunities such as European leagues or even more lucrative NIL contracts?
I actually grew up playing with the boys. That's all I knew until I was in about 4th grade, so I give that a lot of credit for the person I am today, but also the player kind of pushed.
Let's break it down. On the one hand, continuing in college allows Clark to continue creating her legacy. She has the potential to smash more records, lead Iowa to another NCAA championship, and cement her position in basketball history. She's already generating a lot of money from NIL agreements. College athletes may now earn as much as or more than professional players, particularly if they become household names like Caitlin Clark. This is particularly true in women's basketball, as WNBA earnings remain relatively modest compared to other sports. On the other side, the WNBA is calling. For a player of Caitlin's caliber, the question is not if she will go pro, but when. The WNBA has its own set of obstacles and benefits, including the ability to compete against the best in the world, win a WNBA title, and expand her brand on a worldwide scale. But leaving college early means abandoning unfinished business at Iowa. Lynn Dunn's declaration has just exacerbated what is already a difficult issue.
The goofy, funny, smart kid off the court. I have a tremendous amount of respect with what she's been able to do.
After the announcement, the internet went crazy. Fans from all over started to speculate, what might this imply for Caitlin? Would she remain at Iowa and finish her undergraduate career? Or would she seek better possibilities elsewhere? Passionate fan bases have always fueled the world of sports, and Caitlin Clark's supporters are no different. As soon as Lynn Dunn's news became viral on social media, speculations and views started flooding in. Some supporters believe Clark will stay faithful to Iowa, completing what she began and bringing the squad to national success. Others say it is time for her to make the move to the WNBA, where she can start dominating on a larger stage.
Clark.
Some supporters are concerned about the influence of NIL partnerships on college sports. Will money affect how athletes approach their careers? Could the allure of lucrative endorsement deals drive athletes away from their collegiate experiences too soon? It's a heated argument, and Caitlin Clark is suddenly at the center of it. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. Lynn Dunn's statement highlights a far larger issue: how the environment of women's basketball is fast altering. Between NIL contracts, the WNBA's expanding popularity, and the expectations put on young players, the game is developing in ways we haven't seen before. Women's basketball has grown at an incredible rate in recent years. The WNBA is more competitive than ever, and viewership continues to grow. College basketball programs benefit from more publicity, and talents like Caitlin Clark
Made that team so good, you two. Outside Clark again!
leading the charge. However, as the sport increases, so will the problems. For young athletes like Clark, the future is full with possibilities. However, it also entails maintaining a public profile, navigating financial issues, and making career-defining choices. What will Caitlin Clark's next step be? The basketball world awaits with bated breath. Will Caitlin Clark continue her historic career at Iowa, or will she join the WNBA and beyond? One thing is certain, whatever happens next, the future of women's basketball will be forever changed.
We thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here, and I put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years, but like Coach Bluder and Kate said, like there's
Subscribe for more breaking news and updates on your favorite athletes. You won't believe it, Caitlin Clark, the greatest star in women's basketball, is sitting at home while the WNBA playoffs proceed without her. Was this an error that might undermine the WNBA's credibility? Fans are upset, players are speaking out, and the league is experiencing a crisis like never before. Here's why the WNBA may be regretting the choice that kept its star on the bench, and why this might be the league's worst misstep ever.
Hey, Caitlin, what value do you feel like you and this team got out of the playoff experience, and what did it to you reveal that you guys need in the future?
Yeah.
The 2024 WNBA season was one of the most eagerly anticipated in recent memory, thanks in large part to Iowa star Caitlin Clark's debut season. After an outstanding collegiate season, Clark had fans riveted to the screen, anticipating her to lead her team far into the WNBA playoffs. Instead, the WNBA playoffs continue without her, and fans are enraged.
Big time shot.
Doesn't get better than that, Cat.
Becomes the first rookie with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a playoff.
Caitlin Clark's early departure from the playoffs triggered a flood of responses on social media and sports channels. Many think the WNBA needed to properly capitalize on her star power, raising concerns about the league's decision-making and marketing strategies. Did the WNBA make a huge error by not assuring one of its best performers could shine on the largest stage?
I feel like I had a solid year, but for me, the fun part is, like, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm one that's nitpicking every single thing.
Caitlin Clark's playoff departure was more than just a surprise for fans. It dealt a significant blow to the WNBA. Clark was anticipated to be the league's face, attracting new fans and instilling enthusiasm for women's basketball. Instead of gaining traction with Clark's high-energy performances, the WNBA is facing a barrage of criticism for how this season occurred.
The locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome. I think it gave us a take.
Caitlin Clark's jaw-dropping three-pointers and passionate rivalries provided the WNBA with the much-needed excitement to raise its prominence. With her at home, the league missed out on several marketing chances. Big stars like Clark boost viewership, item sales, and general fan involvement. Her absence during the playoffs seemed like a squandered opportunity to take the WNBA to new heights.
Back, one of the best three-point shooters in the league.
And under 20 seconds left, last chance for the Fever. Clark can't get it to go, and Clark and the Fever see.
The WNBA has traditionally had lower viewership than other major leagues. Caitlin Clark's presence on the court represented a ray of optimism, as her spectacular performances continually drew greater crowds. Without her in the playoffs, TV ratings have struggled to maintain the same level of excitement, leaving viewers dissatisfied with watching unfamiliar teams and individuals. While the WNBA continues to showcase its exceptional players, others claim that the league's failure to promote its stars adequately contributes to the issue. Caitlin Clark has the potential to become a crossover superstar, akin to what LeBron James and Stephen Curry have accomplished for the NBA, but the league needed to prepare for the kind of enthusiasm she brought, and now their lack of forethought might cost them dearly.
Banner year for Caitlin Clark in her rookie season, and she set records along the way. First, the rookie marks: most points, assists, first rookie.
Following Clark's departure, many supporters believed that she received little media attention or league promotion. While the WNBA featured Clark throughout the season, many believed the league needed to capitalize on her star power and marketing initiatives properly. Critics claimed that the WNBA should have capitalized on Caitlin Clark's popularity sooner, generating discussion about her playoff run long before it ended. One big challenge with the WNBA's marketing is the inability to generate captivating tales about its players. Caitlin Clark isn't simply an athlete, she's a storyteller. Her feisty nature, her bouts with elite opponents, and her underdog trek in Iowa might all have been part of a larger story to fascinate viewers. Instead, it seems like the league is wasting an opportunity to convey these tales and attract people further into the sport.
Intrigue. Caitlin played in 21 games this season that had at least 1 million viewers, adding to a level of excitement the league has continued to.
The fans should have noticed the error. Social media was inundated with comments and conversations regarding Caitlin Clark's omission from the playoffs, which seemed disappointing. Many people have expressed their dissatisfaction, with some some even labeling the WNBA a clown show for how they handled the season. Twitter, Instagram, and even Reddit erupted with commentary. Fans were quick to point out that the league had the option to make Caitlin Clark the center of attention throughout the playoffs, but instead, she is sitting at home. Some fans have gone so far as to suggest they are tuning out of the playoffs because the games lack the thrill that Clark provided.
For years to come, because she has been the most impactful player that the W has seen in a generation. What she's doing both on and off.
The word clown show began to spread about the WNBA across several channels. Fans were disappointed that the league did not make a greater effort to promote Clark's possible postseason influence, with many arguing that this was proof that the WNBA does not know how to manage its most valuable players. Fans believe the WNBA is failing to capitalize on star power, and Caitlin Clark's absence just adds to the frustration. The WNBA is concerned with more than simply fan responses. There is a significant financial component at work. Caitlin Clark's participation in the playoffs may have increased ticket sales, retail purchases, and potentially ad income for the league. Instead, the WNBA confronts a possible cash shortage as its best player sits out.
We had arenas that were upgraded, arenas that fit maybe 8,000, selling out at 18,000 because Caitlin Clark was in town. Merchandise sold out as well.
With Clark out of the playoffs, several venues report decreasing attendance. Fans who were excited to see her perform live have lost interest, and ticket sales in major cities have declined. Caitlin Clark brought obvious enthusiasm to the court, and her absence has resulted in a more subdued playoff environment, both in person and on television.
I felt like we could have done a little bit more to help it get back here for a game 3, and that's what really kind of stunk about the whole thing.
The WNBA may have suffered a setback in terms of merchandise. Caitlin Clark's rookie season jerseys and clothing flew off the shelves earlier this year, but now that she's no longer in the postseason picture, retail sales have slowed. Fans are less inclined to purchase merchandise when their favorite athlete is not in the limelight. A key source of contention in this topic is whether the WNBA's playoff system is to blame for Caitlin Clark's early departure. Some feel that the existing system needs to recognize elite potential, resulting in circumstances where talents like Clark are dismissed prematurely.
Well, what Caitlin has done has moved the needle forward, not just for herself, but the entire WNBA, and that absolutely is respected.
The current WNBA playoff structure has been criticized for being overly restrictive, causing elite players to lose out on deeper runs. Fans want to watch the finest players compete on the grandest platform, yet the structure often results in early departures for some of the league's top players, like Caitlin Clark. A more flexible or star-driven system may have kept guys like Clark in the limelight longer. Other professional sports leagues, such as the NBA, are designed to highlight stars throughout the playoffs. Fans of the WNBA are making parallels and wondering why the league isn't doing the same. While the league may claim that its system promotes justice, it is apparent that fans want to watch the best players compete on the greatest platform for as long as possible.
Header between the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun. What a game. Fever looking to stave off elimination on the road. And this is late in the fourth, 4:06.
Caitlin Clark's disappearance has elicited reactions beyond those of her followers. Players and coaches from throughout the WNBA have also shared their opinions on the matter, with some implying that the league squandered a significant opportunity. Several WNBA players have expressed their disappointment over Clark's absence from the playoffs, either quietly or explicitly. Some have noted that Caitlin Clark is the kind of player who elevates the game and draws attention to the league, and her playoff departure is a significant loss for the sport.
Fatigue set in, because I know Rebecca talked about it. Caitlin Clark looked exhausted in the fourth quarter. We talked about it here. Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, I think Clark played every minute of the game.
Coaches have also expressed their thoughts on the implications of Caitlin Clark's absence for the remainder of the season. Many think that although team success should always be prioritized, individual star power is critical to the league's growth. Some argue that if the WNBA wants to keep fans interested all year, it should reconsider its structure and marketing techniques. So what comes next for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA? This incident might serve as a learning opportunity for the league. The WNBA must figure out how to keep its stars front and center so that future seasons do not conclude with its most marketable players sitting at home.
She did everything that she could. The rookie had a phenomenal playoff, a phenomenal rookie season.
Yeah, those two played 40 minutes.
While Clark's debut season did not finish as many had planned, her future in the WNBA remains bright. As her game improves, she will undoubtedly return stronger and more motivated than ever to make a difference in the playoffs. The WNBA should use this as a wake-up call. Fans want to see great players in the playoffs, and if the league fails to adjust, it risks losing the attention it has fought so hard to get. Whether it's revamping the playoff system or spending more on player marketing, the WNBA has some significant choices in the coming years.
So that's what excites me the most. I feel like I can continue to get a lot better, and before we know it, I'm sure we'll all be back here and ready for the next year.
In the end, Caitlin Clark's absence from the playoffs has created a big hole. The WNBA had the potential to engage a broader audience and build its fandom, but instead, fans are left wondering whether the way the league handled this season was a mistake.
Same time, that's what stinks about the season ending is I felt like we were really starting to find our groove and really play good basketball, and it feels like that's always kind of how your season.
The consequences of this decision might be long-lasting, not only for Caitlin Clark, but for the WNBA as a whole. As fans continue to express their dissatisfaction, only time will tell whether the WNBA will make the necessary reforms to prevent another clown show in future seasons. Consider this: Caitlin Clark, one of the most well-known names in women's basketball, is facing a major danger to her career. You definitely didn't see it coming, but what if one announcement could alter the course of history? This is precisely what occurred when Lynn Dunn, a veteran of women's basketball and the current general manager of the Indiana Fever, made a surprising comment that shook the basketball world and jeopardized Caitlin Clark's career.
Like we talked about in our locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome.
In this screenplay, we'll examine Dunn's shocking declaration and its potential impact on one of basketball's brightest stars. We'll also examine why this news is so important, how Caitlin Clark got to where she is now, and what the future holds for her career.
Maybe 15.
Why that long?
I don't know. They made me pause. You know, the league. You got to follow the directions.
When you see the fan engagement out there.
To comprehend the seriousness of the problem, you must first know who Lynn Dunn is. Dunn is a highly recognized and important person in women's basketball. With a coaching career spanning 4 decades, Dunn has established himself as a pathfinder. She coached both collegiate and WNBA teams, most notably coaching the Indiana Fever to their first WNBA title in 2012.
For a little while. She's just changed the landscape of women's basketball. I mean, what she's done and the
Since retiring from coaching, Dunn has worked in the front office of the Indiana Fever, where her expertise and basketball knowledge continue to influence the league. She's a real pioneer, but no one expected Dunn, who has always advocated for new talent in the sport, to be behind a statement that might jeopardize Caitlin Clark's future.
She's coming to Indianapolis. She's going to be an integral part of the Indiana Fever, and I can't wait to see Boston and Mitchell and Clark.
Before we get into the news, it's important to understand who Caitlin Clark is and why her career is jeopardized. Caitlin Clark is more than simply a basketball player. She's a sensation. She has been smashing records since high school, attracting interest from elite institutions, and dominating the game with her amazing scoring skills. Clark rose to prominence while playing with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She soon rose to prominence as one of college basketball's top players thanks to her exceptional three-point shooting, court vision, and competitive attitude. Many pundits even named her a potential WNBA superstar, a generational talent capable of transcending the sport in the same way that Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi had.
Or just close more quickly.
Clark zips it in. In fact, Denley finishes. What a dart.
Clark's on-court accomplishments are noteworthy. She was selected as a unanimous All-American and led the country in scoring on many occasions. The excitement around her WNBA potential was at an all-time high, and fans anxiously anticipated her professional debut.
Jukic hounding Clark. Clark, step back three.
Now, let's discuss the surprise announcement. Lynn Dunn commented during a recent news conference that shook the basketball world. According to Dunn, the WNBA is experiencing significant structural and financial issues, and the league may be forced to reevaluate its operations in the coming years. Here's the kicker. Dunn said that the WNBA may have to temporarily stop or severely reduce its draft classes beginning in the 2025 season. This date is critical since Caitlin Clark is scheduled to declare for the WNBA draft at this time. If the draft class is increased or postponed, Clark's professional career chances may be better.
Man, how's it not going in? But I felt like I played a good game. My shot felt well. I thought we could have moved the ball a little bit better, but overall I thought we played well. Our defense could have been a little bit better, especially.
But why would the WNBA do that? Dunn highlighted economic difficulties such as poor attendance, TV ratings, and the league's restricted income sources. Despite the rising popularity of women's basketball, the WNBA has suffered financially in contrast to the NBA. Dunn also cited rising compensation demands from both players and coaches, which have placed a further burden on the league's finances. Dunn's revelation implies that Caitlin Clark and many other excellent players like her may have to wait longer to reach the WNBA, if at all.
Being here is up there. Obviously, you walk around and you see so many tremendous players with their pictures, up on the wall, and to, be recognized.
The greatest immediate worry for Caitlin Clark and her admirers is how this declaration would affect her professional career. Clark has always had her sights set on the WNBA, and many expected her to declare for the draft as soon as she was eligible. The WNBA is the pinnacle of women's basketball, with the top players in the world showcasing their abilities.
Time is 6:50. Caitlin Clark is adding another award to her collection. Clark won the 93rd AAU James E.
If the WNBA draft is decreased or postponed, Clark may find herself trapped in college for longer than intended, or worse, facing restricted chances to play professionally in the United States. While there are broad leagues that pay well and provide competitive play, the WNBA is a dream for many American players, including Clark. A setback on her journey to the league might reduce her visibility, decrease her marketability, and postpone her earning potential. Furthermore, basketball players have limited time to compete at their peak. A delayed debut in the WNBA might impact Clark's long-term reputation, particularly if she loses out on vital growth years against the world's greatest players. It also raises concerns about how she might prepare for an uncertain future.
Because we wanted to make your dream come true. You've made so many dreams come true. State Farm knew it had been some time since you'd seen my and like.
What options does Caitlin Clark have if the WNBA decides to downsize its draft class or postpone future drafts? Clark might choose to play in major leagues such as Spain, Turkey, and Russia. These leagues provide competitive basketball, and players often earn more than they do in the WNBA. However, playing overseas has its own set of problems, such as language hurdles, cultural differences, and separation from family and friends.
I am more.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Another option Clark may consider is boosting her presence off the court. With her personality and great basketball IQ, she might use her brand to get sponsorship agreements or perhaps start a career in sports broadcasting. Given the internet age's rising platform for female athletes, Clark may capitalize on her present status. Given the NCAA's eligibility standards, Clark may potentially stay in college and continue to dominate the collegiate scene. However, this approach has a drawback. While it would enable her to continue playing and improving her skills, she would not be rewarded as she would in the WNBA or international leagues. Despite the development of NIL, name, image, likeness, partnerships, which enable collegiate players to earn from sponsorships, their pay is different from that of a professional athlete.
You see her family there. One of her brothers is away from school for this.
I think this is a good excuse to miss school.
Lynn Dunn's declaration prompted a whirlwind of responses, notably among Caitlin Clark's fans. Many fans are upset, accusing the WNBA of not supporting its future stars. Basketball fans have flooded social media networks with postings, fearing that the league's decision. Some argue that Dunn's comment is a vital wake-up call. They claim that the WNBA has been too liberal in dealing with its financial issues, and that tough choices must be made if the league is to continue. These supporters believe that although it is bad for players like Caitlin Clark, it is more crucial to safeguard the WNBA's survival for future generations. So what does the future hold for the WNBA? While Lynn Dunn's declaration is troubling, it's vital to remember that the league will not dissolve suddenly. The WNBA has made great progress in recent years thanks to increasing media coverage and social media involvement. However, the league needs a more sustainable funding strategy to guarantee long-term success.
God, thanks for being here.
Hey, this is special.
Oh my god.
How does it feel to have?
I still feel like I was this tall and freaking out, and I ran across the.
This circumstance has revived discussions about how the WNBA might expand its fan base and increase income. Suggestions include expanding ties with prominent businesses to gain larger sponsorship arrangements, increasing the league's media footprint with improved broadcast contracts and streaming alternatives, building better youth programs to cultivate a more devoted fan base from a young age. The WNBA has a lot of promise, and with careful financial planning and creativity, positivity. It can transform its present issues into chances for development.
My coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general.
How has Caitlin Clark handled all of this? While Clark has not issued an official remark about Lin Dunn's announcement, there is little doubt that she is carefully following the situation. Clark, known for her ferocious competition and perseverance, is most certainly carefully considering her alternatives. Insiders say Clark remains positive, concentrating on her current college season while considering backup plans in case the WNBA draft scenario does not improve. She has already indicated an interest in playing abroad if necessary, but her ultimate objective is to make an impact in the WNBA.
I actually grew up playing with the boys. That's all I knew until I was in about 4th grade. So I give that a lot of credit for the person I am today, but also the player kind of pushed.
We must consider the larger implications of this news for women's basketball. Caitlin Clark is just one of many excellent athletes who this decision may impact. This scenario raises serious concerns about the sport's future and whether enough support is being provided for women's professional basketball. The success of athletes like Clark is critical to the continuing development of women's basketball. If great athletes are discouraged from playing in the WNBA due to financial difficulties or limited possibilities, the sport may suffer for years. This might impact the league's capacity to recruit future stars, limiting its marketability and profitability.
My parents are here tonight over here. My dad was actually my first ever AAU basketball coach, so this is kind of a full circle moment, and I grew up playing a lot of it.
Finally, Lin Dunn's startling remark has surely caused Caitlin Clark and the whole basketball community face a storm of uncertainty. While the future remains uncertain, one thing is certain. This event marks a watershed moment for the WNBA and women's basketball in general.
Biting my tongue, following the rules, but you know, for some time now we've had her penciled in as our #1 pick, but we didn't want to let the cat out of the box.
The following steps will be critical for Caitlin Clark. Whether she continues to dominate in college, takes her skills abroad, or waits for the WNBA's situation to stabilize, her perseverance and basketball IQ will undoubtedly put her in the running as one of the sport's top young prospects. Let's hope that whatever happens next isn't the end of Caitlin Clark's career, but rather the start of something even more intriguing.
Gil's Arena has long been a hotbed for passionate basketball disputes, with former NBA great Gilbert Arenas and his team spawning viral debates on a variety of basketball themes.
In the W post-Olympic break, I believe 9-4 in that span. Caitlin Clark, huge reason for that success. So set the WNBA single season.
However, a recent show sparked controversy when the hosts discussed the accomplishments of Caitlin Clark, a rising star in the WNBA, and Sheryl Swoopes' perceived underestimation of her ability. What started as a casual basketball discussion quickly turned into a heated debate that shocked the internet sports community. Fans, analysts, and even former players chimed in on the show's controversial statements, particularly those of Swoopes, a WNBA legend who many believed was unfairly minimizing Clark's achievements. In this post, we will examine the viral episode and dissect the arguments offered by both sides. Gilbert Arenas and his colleagues at Gil's Arena have earned a reputation for being unvarnished and frequently provocative when discussing NBA and WNBA matters. The show's style encourages in-depth study, while also fostering contested and occasionally controversial perspectives. The episode in question was no exception. The talk began with a general discussion of how dominance is characterized in sports, particularly among rookie players. Caitlin Clark, who had dominated the collegiate basketball scene before moving to the WNBA, rapidly became the focus of the discussion.
She went from playing in college, playing in the Final Four, going to the draft, going to training camp, season starts, and the Fever are playing I don't know how many games they played.
Clark's performances in college were nothing short of spectacular. Her record-breaking scoring and assist totals brought parallels to some of the best players in women's basketball history. Clark entered the WNBA with huge expectations, but according to Gil's Arena, her effect has yet to materialize fully. And this is where the discussion heated up, whether Caitlin Clark was already a dominant player or if fans and commentators had exaggerated her abilities.
And Glass in for two.
Jackie Young with all 18 points here in the second quarter.
Sheryl Swoopes, a prominent figure in women's basketball and one of the first players to join the WNBA, poured gasoline on the fire when she spoke up. During the show, Swoopes questioned Caitlin Clark's WNBA supremacy, claiming that while Clark was outstanding in college, her transfer to the professional level had failed to live up to the promise. Swoops' comments focused on the idea that college dominance only sometimes converts into WNBA success. She pointed out that Clark's WNBA numbers, while excellent, did not always reflect the same level of perfect control over the game that she had demonstrated in college.
About like one player, but their ability to really gel together and their chemistry right now.
Many fans disagreed with this opinion, believing Caitlin Clark was a transformative athlete capable of becoming one of the WNBA's brightest stars. While Swoops' comments were not intended to invalidate Clark fully, they did appear to belittle the considerable pressure and hardships that rookies confront while transferring from college basketball to the pros. As a result, the topic immediately devolved into a dispute over how we evaluate dominance and whether Swoops was being unduly harsh on Clark.
To me, what Caitlin's been able to do in a short period of time has been very impressive, right?
Gilbert Arenas and his co-hosts on Gil's Arena didn't hold back following Swoops' initial remarks. In fact, they appeared to agree with her, emphasizing that Clark, despite her scoring and assist records, was not dominating the WNBA in the same manner she had in college. The dispute centered on the intricacies of what constituted domination in sports, with Arenas arguing that Clark's stats, while impressive, still needed to indicate a player capable of controlling the flow of the game at whim.
She wouldn't be good, but I didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately.
One of the most important issues discussed was the distinction between scoring a lot of points and controlling the general flow of a game. While Clark's scoring and assist figures were obviously good, Arenas and his team believed she had yet to reach a level where she could routinely take over games. They thought her numbers were not equivalent to those of other WNBA stars during their peak years, such as A'ja Wilson or Candace Parker. However, Arenas and his team recognized that Clark was still in the early phases of her career, and they made it plain that their criticism was not about her potential, but rather whether she had already achieved the degree of dominance that many expected.
One who said that, so I think a lot of people felt that when you talk to a lot of players in the W, it's like, look, it's hard for rookies to make that transition from college to the W.
Gino said it.
A large part of the conversation at Gil's Arena focused on the concept of domination in basketball. The hosts and Swoops debated what it meant to dominate a game. Is it all about the score, or is there more to it? Caitlin Clark's academic career had set an extremely high bar for what others expected of her. She was a natural leader on the court, setting records for assists and consistently posting high-scoring performances. However, upon entering the WNBA, Clark encountered the same obstacles that many young stars faced in their first seasons, adjusting to the greater level of competition, the toughness of the game, and the faster speed of professional basketball.
Oh, the deep seal, but the block from behind by Wilson.
But Stokes wasn't ready for it.
The Gil's Arena crew contended that domination should not be determined exclusively by points. Instead, it should reflect a player's ability to influence all aspects of the game, including scoring, playmaking, defense, and leadership. They argued that while Clark was an exceptional scorer, her rookie season had not yet demonstrated her ability to manage games at the professional level regularly. They compared her performances to those of established WNBA players who had the experience and savvy to influence games in ways other than stats. Another significant reason driving the argument over Gil's Arena was Caitlin Clark's high expectations. As a college player, she was frequently referred to as the next big thing in women's basketball. Her outstanding collegiate records and ability to produce under duress prompted many to expect she would make an early, superstar-level impact in the WNBA. But is it fair to set such high expectations for a rookie?
It's how they build on that in the second half.
The personnel they have, the way the offense is flowing, and it's absolutely a major part of it, how it goes.
Sheryl Swoopes' comments seemed to imply that Clark's expectations were unrealistic. Swoops said Clark required time to adjust to the professional game, and her current performance matched that of a very skilled rookie still learning the ropes. Swoops did, however, point out that the WNBA is not the same as NCAA basketball. Players who dominate in college may not usually carry that dominance to the professionals, and even the most talented rookies require time to develop. The crew of Gil's Arena agreed with Swoops, stating that while Clark had shown flashes of brilliance, she hadn't yet dominated in the way that many had predicted. The heart of their thesis was that dominance in the WNBA differs from that in college. In college, Clark could outperform opponents with her superior skills, but in the WNBA, every player is excellent, and dominance requires more than just scoring ability.
Saying it, dominate, right? When we're talking about Caitlin, we're talking about when she said dominate, when we're saying dominate, we're thinking.
A lot of the talk on Gil's Arena was about Caitlin Clark's rookie season numbers. Clark's numbers were clearly excellent for a rookie, but the hosts questioned whether they accurately represented dominance. By the halfway point of the season, Clark was averaging around 20 points per game, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. While these figures were amazing for a rookie, some on Gil's Arena thought they paled in comparison to her domination during her college career when she consistently posted 30-point games and was the unquestioned leader of her team.
Vegas a 2-point lead after 1 quarter.
Kelsey Plum over to Clark. Good ball movement. We saw A'ja Wilson knock down the 3, decides to take it off.
One of the main reasons was that while Clark contributed in a variety of ways, scoring, assisting, and rebounding, her impact on the game was not as strong as it had been in college. In the WNBA, she was no longer the main option on every play, and the level of competition meant she couldn't always dominate the pace and flow of the game as she did at Iowa.
To Juha Storka fell down. Here comes Wilson. A'ja beat the shot clock, and they call a foul. Final second.
The counter-argument, Clark's accomplishments speak for themselves. While Gil's Arena questioned Clark's domination, many fans and commentators argued that Clark's rookie stats were more than enough to demonstrate that she was already making a huge impact in the WNBA. Clark set multiple records during her debut season, including the most points scored by a rookie and the most three-pointers shot in a single season. She also led the league in assists, demonstrating her ability to contribute to her team outside of scoring. For many, Clark's exploits proved that she was, in fact, dominating the league in her unique way.
Team's best player, and that sure has showed up this season in the WNBA.
Wilson, that little shimmy shake a la Hakeem Olajuwon.
Furthermore, Clark's presence on the court had already revolutionized the Indiana Fever, a team that had struggled in previous seasons but had experienced a rebirth under Clark's leadership. Her ability to improve her teammates, generate scoring opportunities, and lead by example was viewed by many as a type of dominance, even if it did not always appear in standard statistics.
You cannot over-help on penetration, but that's also the responsibility of the on-ball defender. A'ja Wilson's going to work. Here comes.
One of the reasons Sheryl Swoopes' statements were so influential in the conversation was her playing legacy. Swoopes, a 3-time WNBA MVP and one of the league's earliest superstars, offers a unique perspective on what it takes to compete at the highest level of women's basketball. Thus, her critique of Clark was viewed as a remark from someone who had been in Clark's shoes and understood the problems.
She's dominated college, right?
No, she dominated in college.
She dominated. So when she says you won't come here and dominate off the rip.
Finally, the discussion on Gil's Arena brings up a broader issue in sports commentary, the temptation to pass judgment on young athletes too fast. While Clark's first season did not live up to expectations, it is evident that she had the talent, drive, and potential to become one of the WNBA's most prominent talents. Only time will tell if she can achieve the degree of dominance that players like Swoopes did. But for now, the argument over her legacy is only getting started. The world of women's basketball has been more exciting and intense than ever in 2024. The WNBA season has given us unforgettable moments. Still, one of the biggest talking points is the rivalry between two of the league's brightest stars, A'ja Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces and Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. Both players are neck and neck for the MVP title, but tensions reached an all-time high after Clark's stunning appearance at the MVP Awards, where she reportedly stole the spotlight from Wilson.
Relying on her passing, getting the ball to her, defense double team, A'ja Wilson.
This video looks into how Caitlin Clark, in her rookie year, managed to shake the WNBA's landscape and, in the process, ignite a fierce rivalry with veteran A'ja Wilson. We'll explore Wilson's dominance, Clark's rise to fame, and the turning point at the MVP Awards that sent shockwaves through the basketball community.
WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson joined us here on SportsCenter. A'ja, I hope you could hear some of the stats we were just throwing at the audience.
A'ja Wilson has been a force in the WNBA since she entered the league. By 2024, she's already a multiple-time MVP winner, WNBA champion, and regarded as one of the most complete players in the game. Her stats for the season are nothing short of remarkable. leading the league in scoring and blocks and nearly topping the rebounding charts. Wilson has dominated both ends of the court for the Las Vegas Aces, helping her team stay on top and securing a high playoff seed.
With a clear out, runs and shows some help and gets in the gap and forces her to pass. The fortuitous bounce and one for it.
Despite her accolades, the 2024 season was more challenging for Wilson than anticipated. Her success was almost taken for granted. Fans and analysts saw her as the inevitable MVP, and this sentiment carried through most of the season. A'ja Wilson is the MVP. No contest, they would say. However, this disregard changed when a young rookie started making waves. Wilson, being the consummate professional she is, never publicly acknowledged the pressure mounting from younger talents like Clark. Yet, in interviews and social media, there were hints of frustration. After all, some saw her league, her title, and Clark as a new threat. For A'ja Wilson, the MVP award was more than just another trophy. It symbolized her dominance in the sport to which she had dedicated her life.
Just trusting the process, but also our defensive end. I think we really settled down on the defensive end, and that's where we can really play our basketball. But sometimes you gotta trust the process. Adversity hit us a little.
Enter Caitlin Clark, a name that would soon be on the lips of every basketball fan across the globe. Clark's entry into the WNBA was nothing short of spectacular. Coming off a stellar college career at Iowa, Clark's transition to professional basketball was seamless. Known for her sharpshooting, playmaking, and competitive edge, she quickly became the face of the Indiana Fever, a team that had languished at the bottom of the league for years.
The pressure as Bonner can't hit. Back Benley the rebound. Here comes Clark, bouncing to...
Clark's rookie season stats were mind-boggling, averaging nearly 20 points per game, leading the league in assists, and shooting a staggering number of threes. She wasn't just a rookie standout, she was one of the best players in the entire WNBA. Her impact on the Indiana Fever was immediate and profound, turning the team into playoff contenders for the first time in nearly a decade.
Realizes it. Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits from the mid-range, 20 points.
What made Clark stand out wasn't just her ability to score or facilitate, but her confidence on the court. From buzzer beaters to clutch performances in big games, she exuded an aura of fearlessness, one that endeared her to fans, but put her in the crosshairs of seasoned veterans like Wilson. Despite being a rookie, Clark was already being hailed as a potential MVP candidate, which set the stage for the tension between her and A'ja.
Of that run to the finals before the Liberty fell to the Aces in 4 games. Clark connects!
As the 2024 WNBA season progressed, it became clear that Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson were on a collision course. The MVP race, which many thought Wilson would run away with, became a two-horse race. Every game, every stat, every highlight seemed to compare these two players, veteran dominance versus rookie sensation. This rivalry wasn't just confined to the court. Off the court, fans and analysts were quick to stir the pot. Social media buzzed with debates on who deserved the MVP more. Clark's fans were vocal, especially after some of her standout performances against powerhouse teams like the Las Vegas Aces. A'ja Wilson's fans, on the other hand, remained confident that their star player would maintain her throne.
The energy. I feel like the energy is good. It's a good vibe. It's a good feel. People are really just coming to see the product on the floor.
The media, too, fueled the fire. Headlines like, "Is Caitlin Clark more influential than A'ja Wilson?" became common, and every ESPN segment seemed to analyze Clark's rise compared to Wilson's steady greatness. Wilson, who had been the face of the league for years, suddenly found herself sharing the spotlight with a rookie. She handled it with grace, on the surface. But behind the scenes, there were murmurs that Wilson wasn't pleased with the narrative shift.
No bubble. I walked into that room and handed you the MVP trophy, and guess what? You are the 2024.
One of the biggest moments of the season that highlighted this tension was when Clark's Indiana Fever defeated Wilson's Las Vegas Aces in a regular season thriller. Clark dropped 35 points, including a buzzer-beater 3 to win the game, and the clip of Wilson's reaction, frustrated, hands on hips, went viral. While Wilson downplayed the loss, it was clear that Clark's emergence had gotten under her skin.
45 blocks last year, Clark for 3!
The stage was set for the MVP Awards night. the culmination of an intense WNBA season. Aja Wilson, coming off another dominant season, was expected to take home her third MVP trophy. Caitlin Clark, however, was the wild card. While most analysts predicted Wilson to win, Clark's undeniable impact had many believing that she could pull off an upset. As the awards ceremony began, the tension in the room was palpable. Wilson, dressed in a sleek black gown, sat confidently with her Las Vegas Aces teammates by her side. Caitlin Clark, ever the competitor, had also made her way to the event. Her presence alone was enough to stir conversation. After all, how often does a rookie show up to an event where they're up against the league's greatest?
The wait is finally over.
The best player on the planet, number 22, Aja Wilson.
When the MVP award was announced, it was no surprise that Aja Wilson was crowned the winner. But the drama unfolded in the moments that followed. As Wilson made her way to the stage to accept the trophy, a camera panned to Clark. The rookie star was seen smiling, clapping politely, but many noticed the intensity in her eyes. For Wilson, what was supposed to be a moment of triumph felt bittersweet as the shadow of Clark loomed large over the celebration.
One award, it's been over for a while. Aja Wilson is the best player in the W, and she was named the MVP unanimously on Sunday. Only the second player.
Rumors quickly spread that Wilson was furious behind the scenes. Sources claimed that she felt disrespected by Clark's presence at the awards, believing the rookie was there to steal her spotlight. These reports gained traction after a leaked video showed Wilson in a heated conversation with her teammates post-ceremony. While Wilson didn't directly call out Clark, her body language and tone suggested that she wasn't pleased with how the night had unfolded. The days following the MVP awards were filled with speculation, memes, and debates. Social media exploded with fans taking sides, Team Aja or Team Caitlin. While some argued that Wilson's frustration was justified, others believed Clark had every right to attend the ceremony and celebrate her incredible season. Basketball analysts weighed in as well. Some believed that Wilson's reaction was a sign of her competitive spirit, a desire to remain the best in the league. Others suggested that Wilson, perhaps subconsciously, saw Clark as the beginning of a new era in the WNBA, one where her reign as the league's top player might be coming to an end.
Feel about that? Oh, that's incredible. I did not know it was unanimous. That's so cool. That is really cool.
Clark, for her part, remained silent publicly. She posted a congratulatory message to Wilson on social media, praising her as a worthy MVP. But the rookie's silence on the MVP snub fueled further speculation. Did she feel she deserved the award? Was she upset at being overlooked despite her record-breaking season? The basketball world was left guessing. As for Wilson, she gave a few interviews after the awards, downplaying the rumors of her frustration. "I'm just here to win championships," she said, emphasizing that her focus was on the upcoming playoffs. But fans and analysts couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between Wilson and Clark. This wasn't just a rivalry anymore, it was personal.
This is the first time since 1997 that it was a unanimous vote for MVP.
I did not know it was
Oh, congratulations, yeah.
With the MVP awards behind them, both Aja Wilson and Caitlin Clark turned their attention to the WNBA playoffs. For Wilson, this was her opportunity to cement her legacy further by leading the Las Vegas Aces to another championship. For Clark, it was a chance to prove that she wasn't just a flash in the pan, that her rookie season was just the beginning of a storied career.
This year, but a really cool shoe collab with Under Armour and Kelsey Plum.
Oh, I love it with the cigar flare as well.
As the WNBA entered its most exciting part of the season, fans eagerly awaited the possibility of a Clark versus Wilson showdown in the playoffs. The MVP race had ended, but the rivalry was far from over. Both players had something to prove. Wilson, that she was still the league's best, and Clark, that she could compete with the WNBA's elite. The 2024 WNBA season will forever be remembered for the clash between these two basketball titans. Aja Wilson, the established superstar, and Caitlin Clark, the rising sensation, represent two different eras of the league. And while Wilson took home the MVP trophy this time, it's clear that Clark's presence has already changed the landscape of women's basketball.
Here is Clark. She will launch and bury a three.
Only time will tell how this rivalry evolves, but one thing is certain. The battle between Aja Wilson and Caitlin Clark is far from over. The MVP awards may have gone to Aja Wilson, But the real story of the 2024 WNBA season is the rivalry that has emerged between her and Caitlin Clark. It's a rivalry that has captivated fans, sparked debates, and made women's basketball more exciting than ever.
Said she did USA 3-on-3, China, Turkey. Now she thinks this is ready for her time.
So, what do you think? Was A'ja Wilson right to feel furious about Caitlin Clark's appearance at the MVP Awards? Or was it simply the nature of competition? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing rivalry. Caitlin Clark, the exceptional Iowa Hawkeyes basketball player, has shown to be a formidable opponent on the floor. Her incredible performances have captivated viewers, making her one of the most talked about players in college basketball today. Clark's extraordinary scoring ability, leadership, and unmistakable brilliance have captivated both sports fans and pundits. However, she recently became the focus of a different type of attention, not because of her on-court exploits, but because of comments made about her by ESPN's Molly Qerim.
Clark over Horston, hits a three!
In a world where athletes are constantly scrutinized, Caitlin Clark's name came up in a heated debate that eventually led to ESPN's decision to terminate Molly Qerim. The episode has aroused significant controversy, with sports fans, commentators, and critics commenting on both Qerim's statements and Clark's meteoric ascent to fame. As we investigate this surprising turn of events, it is critical to consider Caitlin Clark's effect on women's basketball, the context of the statements that led to Qerim's firing, and the broader ramifications for sports journalism today.
I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving.
So go ahead and argue it.
That's exactly.
Before delving into the topic, it's important to understand who Caitlin Clark is and why she's become such an influential person in women's sports. Caitlin Clark's collegiate basketball career has been nothing short of spectacular. As a prominent Iowa Hawkeyes player, she has constantly provided awe-inspiring performances, often carrying her team on her back with amazing scoring ability, vision, and a dogged will to win.
But Cowan, who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist.
Clark, from Des Moines, Iowa, was already a household name in high school basketball, where she broke records and garnered national recognition. Her choice to remain home and play for Iowa signaled the start of a new era in women's collegiate basketball. Clark made it evident from the time she walked on the floor as a freshman that she was unique. Her ability to sink deep three-pointers, throw out precise assists, and lead her squad with toughness gained her respect around the league.
The turnover ratio in her career last season. Clark gets away with a little push, fall away, buries it. And a little reaction.
In only a few seasons, Clark went from a prospective recruit to a popular name, garnering comparisons to some of basketball's best players. She's been dubbed a once-in-a-generation talent, capable of transforming the game's landscape and propelling the popularity of women's sports to new heights. Fans have praised her court vision, flair for the theatrical, and ability to take over games, often in the clutch.
Clark working on Van Loo. Oh, Clark, pretty step back, hits a three. Got a little sip.
Her awards have continued to pile up, including All-American honors, scoring crowns, and national notoriety. Clark has been associated with success in women's college basketball, and her efforts have propelled Iowa far into tournaments, where she has frequently single-handedly led her team to victory. As Clark's popularity rose, so did the prominence of women's basketball, resulting in more media coverage and a larger fan base.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in.
Caitlin Clark's notoriety in the sports world is no surprise, since she has been a regular subject of discussion on sports broadcasts, such as ESPN's First Take. However, things took a dramatic turn when Molly Qerim, one of the show's co-hosts, made remarks that sparked a firestorm of outrage. During a section analyzing Clark's most recent performance, Qerim allegedly made statements that many saw as disparaging and contemptuous of Clark's achievements. While the statements seem innocuous on the surface, the manner in which they were delivered sparked outrage among fans and critics alike. Qerim reportedly said that Clark's style of play was showy, but lacked the substance required to excel at the top level of competition.
I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their attention, and they're not as talented.
The crowd did not favorably receive the statements. Fans of Caitlin Clark turned to social media to vent their anger, accusing Karam of disparaging Clark's accomplishments and downplaying her importance in the sport. What made the matter even more contentious was the timing. Clark had just given another outstanding performance, guiding her side to a huge win. Karam's words in the aftermath further added to the fury. In today's hyper-connected world, when news and views move at breakneck speed, Karam's remarks became viral. Social media sites such as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were inundated with comments condemning Karam for what many saw as an unjustified and foolish assault on Clark. Hashtags like Shocker Support Caitlin Clark and Fire Molly Karam started trending, with fans urging ESPN to take action.
It wasn't that anybody didn't think he was going to be successful or not play. It was just that we felt the other players in the W deserve shine as well.
Prominent people in sports, including players, pundits, and analysts, have spoken out on the issue. Many people jumped to Caitlin Clark's defense, praising her remarkable accomplishments and the wonderful influence she has made on women's basketball. Others questioned the larger implications of Karam's words, claiming that female athletes are often held to higher standards and get more criticism than their male colleagues. The anger was not restricted to basketball enthusiasts. Advocates for women's sports and gender equality interpreted Karam's remarks as symptomatic of a broader problem, the systematic undervaluation of women's athletic achievements. They said that statements like Karam's foster the perception that women's sports are somehow inferior to men's despite athletes like Caitlin Clark competing at unprecedented levels.
Molly, I said...
Really, Molly?
Wow. They jumped on us. They jumped on us, Molly. They jumped on us as a show.
As the outcry grew, it became evident that this wasn't merely a slip of judgment. Karam's remarks touched a deeper chord, addressing problems of gender, media portrayal, and the continuous struggle for recognition in women's sports. ESPN is no stranger to controversy, and the network has had its fair share of public relations issues over the years. However, the backlash over Karam's remarks regarding Caitlin Clark created a particularly difficult scenario for the sports media behemoth.
Team and spending time on the bench, what is the conversation going to be about the entire...
Initially, ESPN kept mute on the matter, maybe anticipating that the reaction would subside on its own. However, when the scandal escalated, the network was obliged to confront it publicly. In a short statement, ESPN recognized that the statements made on First Take had offended viewers and promised them that the problem was being taken seriously.